Yo guys, what is good? It's your boy John here, back again with another video. And today, well, it's that time of the year. We are going over the top 10 best sneakers of 2025. Alright, as always, if you guys have not seen my most recent video where I go over the Black Cat Jordan 4s, make sure to go check it out afterwards. I'm not keeping it for the personals, but it's definitely a pretty cool shoe, not gonna lie. And if you guys have noticed anything different about my backdrop right here, my dad basically got me 2 extra sneaker cases. And now it looks a lot more full. Before we were missing these 2, but he found them at a thrift store. This comes to show that if you guys are looking for some drop front cases, you can definitely go to the thrift and possibly find some that people are trying to get rid of. Now I have an even amount. Before I was missing just these 2. Now I have a 4x7 all lined up right here. Very, very cool. I don't think I have any more room to add new ones just because I'm not going to be able to show anything on top anymore. You guys can't even see what's on top. But yup, it is that time of the year where we are going over the best sneaker releases of 2025. So every year I basically make a list of the top 10 best sneaker releases for that year. And usually they're like my favorite ones. Sometimes they're really hyped releases, but they're kind of like a mix between both. You know, sometimes it's ones that have made a lot of noise in the sneaker community and have been really hyped, but other ones are actually really low-key ones that I heard about in this year that I decided to cop for myself that might not be so popular, so those are personal favorites of mine. I try my best not to lean too much of either sides because I'm not trying to be a hype beast where I'm just liking everything just because it's hype and that everyone else likes them. And I also don't want to just go over a bunch of sneakers that are irrelevant to you guys as well. But in today's video, I have comprised a list of 10 best sneaker releases for the year 2025. And like with all my other top 10 videos, quick disclaimer, this is all entirely in my opinion, so my list might look a lot different from yours. If I'm leaving a sneaker out, let me know in the comments down below because I do want to hear from you. So with that being said, let's get into the top 10 best sneakers of 2025. Let's hop into it. All right, starting off with number 10 on our list is a sneaker that a lot of people are actually disappointed that they weren't able to get this year. This was a pretty hype but limited drop. We do have the second iteration of the Travis Scott Fragment Jordan 1s. Now, personally for me, this is not my favorite Travis Scott Jordan colorway. However, I am a really big fan of Travis Scott Jordan 1s. You already know I went for this release. And the sad part was that this was a Travis Scott exclusive, only on his website. These did not release on sneakers. They did not release anywhere else, so not a lot of people were able to get them, period. And when it comes to the Travis Scott website, your chances of getting the sneaker are basically 0 to none. Now, it's still a really nice shoe nonetheless. I feel like this was something that a lot of sneakerheads were very excited for during this year. I know that Travis Scott Jordan 1s always hit a different kind of way for us sneakerheads. I think overall I had to include this one on my list just because this is a Travis Scott Jordan 1. For me, I always have a soft spot in my heart for Travis Scott's. I think that's probably the hypeest in me talking, but you know I had to add it onto my list. But I think that number 10 is an appropriate place to put them on the list as I would not rank them any higher. Honestly, they're probably one of the least significant sneakers on my list in terms of my liking. All right, so moving on to number 9 on the list, we do have the Asics Gel Cumulus 16s in the Tomo colorway. So a lot of you have probably not heard about this collaboration in the year 2025. But there is a reason why I decided to add it onto my top 10. I was actually very close to getting this sneaker because I love the story behind it. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is a collaboration between 8 sneaker stores. So going down the line, our collaborators in the sneaker are obviously Asics. Then we have Concepts, Extra Butter, Feature, Lapstone and Hammer, Sneaker Politics, Somewhere, and the Whitaker Group. And in the name of the colorway Tomo, this basically means friendship in Japanese. So the reason why the colorway is named Tomo, it's to represent the shared friendship and camaraderie between all these sneaker brands and stores. I think that's a really cool concept. I feel like there was no blatant kind of branding to put on the sneaker in order to show that it was a collaboration. But if you really look at the background and the story behind the sneaker, that actually shows a huge deal for the sneaker community. How often do you get sneaker stores coming out with a collaboration with other sneaker stores? This is basically like a crossover, a mashup. This is like your Avengers of sneakers. And honestly, this sneaker is still sitting. This has not sold out. A lot of people don't know the story behind this shoe, and I think it's just so great. I honestly would have copped it. However, I do think that the gradient between purple to green is a little loud. It's not something that I would necessarily wear for a shoe. And although I love the story behind it, it's just not something that I think I could pull off. But this was a great way to bring the Asics Gel Cumulus 16s back from the grave. You know, they died a couple of years back. They were made for running, but now Asics wants to bring them back for lifestyle wear. And that's just what I love about sneakers, is just when they have more than just what we see in the aesthetic. Again, I think the sneaker really symbolizes the partnership between sneaker stores, companies, brands, and the sneaker community. All right, moving on to number 8 on our list. This was another sneaker that kind of came out of nowhere, and a lot of people weren't able to get their hands on them, but I still wanted to include them on the list because I think they're a really nice sneaker. We do have the Tom Sachs Mars Yard 3.0s. Honestly, I am very sad that I was not able to get my hands on this pair. Not even because of the resale price, not even because of the hype of them. I think overall the Mars Yard sneakers look very, very cool. Yes, they are overhyped because they do kind of look like a regular runner at the end of the day, but still, owning a pair of Mars Yards would probably feel so good. I've seen these in person before, and I just love the overall look of it. I think there was just one time that they just randomly dropped on the Tom Sachs website. I don't really remember if there was any announcement prior to that. The Tom Sachs Mars Yards have always been a hype shoe in the sneaker community, like for no reason. They've been overhyped. And I remember for the 1.0s and the 2.0s, they've built a lot of suspense, but this one kind of just came out of nowhere. It just came from behind, they sold out, and now there's no way of us ever getting another pair for retail again. And even that black mudguard, I don't know, I feel like that's such a nice addition to the look of the sneaker. The sneaker in my size right now for new, it's going for $13.48 on the market. I'm very sad, but still, I had to add this on to my top 10 best sneakers. All right, moving on to number 7 on our list is the sneaker that I just picked up from last video. We do have the Black Cat Jordan 4s. Now, I know in my last video, I basically talked about how the sneakers are just way overhyped, that I'm not a really big fan of the all black Jordan 4s, but honestly, it is a pretty sleek and nice colorway at the end of the day. It's all black. Yes, I don't think that this should be going for $1,000, but now that it's back in stock, that you can basically get this for a little over retail price, why not get yourself a pair of all black Jordan 4s? Honestly, I feel like if I change my mind in the future, I might just keep these for the personal, because Black Cats, I can tell why people like them. I can tell that they go with everything. They are not a bad sneaker. I just would not pay so much money. For the fact that I got them for retail really means a lot, and I wouldn't mind holding on to them. You know, it's not my favorite sneaker. It's not the first shoe I would gravitate towards. However, I'm wearing like a black sweater right now and gray pants. Honestly, if I just whip these out with my outfit, I feel like they would go great with everything. So yeah, I'm pretty sure sneakerheads are happy to have seen this in 2025, especially this time with the Nike Air on the back. This was something that when they had the Jumpman, a lot of sneakerheads were complaining about, that if they came out with another pair to please add the Nike Air logo, and that's what they did. Now this sneaker is honestly very loud, like I've said in my other video, where basically when it comes to the plastic on the sneakers and when they're rubbing on the nubuck, it basically makes this squeaking noise, which is kind of loud, as you guys can hear that. But still, it's a pretty good sneaker nonetheless. I feel like this definitely deserves to be on everybody's top 10 best sneakers of the year. Maybe not number 1 exactly, but for the fact that we saw this again, the Black Cat Jordan 4s, I'm adding it to my number 7 spot. All right, and moving on to number 6 on our list is a sneaker that I have for myself that I personally copped for this year. Probably a lot of people are gonna disagree with me, but we do have the reimagined Black Toe Jordan 1s. Now, I think this sneaker is still sitting in some stores. You could basically get this for retail. I think they're reselling for under retail, but you guys know me, I am a fiend when it comes to red Jordan 1s, and I had to pick these up. I didn't need a red pair of Jordan 1s, obviously, because I have my Spider-Mans on top, but at the time I was on the sneakers app and these were sitting for like a good amount of time. Like I went to the drop maybe like 15 minutes after they first came out and they were still sitting. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go for them and I'll just see what they like in hand. I think when it comes to red Jordan 1s, I am more of a fan of the Chicago colorway instead of the black toes, but still this is a very clean sneaker nonetheless. It's very bare and it's very minimal, right? You have a white toe box right here, and then all the color is in the back that really gives it the character of the shoe. I think a lot of people did not like that this was a reimagined pair, so in place of the Wings logo, we have this Air Jordan logo instead. But still, I could get over that, and it's a really cool shoe. I think if you are somebody that has always loved the red Jordan 1s, and especially the OG colorways, this was definitely the year for you to cop a bunch of different OG colors for the first time. All right, so now we are moving on to my top 5 best sneakers of 2025. And again, this is all entirely in my opinion. But moving on to number 5, we do have a personal favorite of mine. This was a sneaker that released this year, but was not very popular for some reason. Now, honestly, this sneaker was one of my most worn sneakers of the last couple of months. We do have the Nike Ava Rovers. As you guys can see right here, this sneaker looks very sleek. It's a black sneaker with that cream bottom, and it just gives a lot of that Fear of God vibes. The sneaker overall feels very good to wear. I feel very supported. I feel like there's a lot of stability when it comes to the sneaker. It's a comfortable shoe, but the cushioning is not so squishy where it feels like you're falling over, but more so you feel like you are secure when you're wearing these on your feet. At first, I didn't really love them. I didn't like the look of it because I felt that the pixely area here looked weird, but it grew on me. I began to see these in stores more. And honestly, they're still sitting, and a lot of people have not even tried out the Ava Rovers yet. I don't know why. Maybe because they think that the aesthetic is kind of out there-ish. But honestly, I think that all they need to do is just try them on to see how nice they feel on feet, and they're gonna fall in love with it like I did. I love wearing black pants with this because it's just like a black contrast going down my legs onto my feet. Really great sneaker, and they only go for $130, I believe, so it's not too bad. If you're someone that wants to be on their feet all day and you don't want to feel like that squishy feeling of like memory foam and whatnot, the Nike Ava Rovers are a great option for that because they just do the job when it comes to support. The Nike React material on the sneaker is a great feature to the midsole, and I would highly recommend buying the sneaker here at our number 5 spot. All right, so moving on to number 4 is a sneaker that I did not cop for myself, but I did get a W on sneakers for my girlfriend. We do have the Yuto Horigome Nike SB Dunks in this like matcha asparagus colorway. Now, my girlfriend didn't even ask me to buy this sneaker for her. I just thought it was pretty nice, and I asked her what she thought about it and if she would wear them if I got them for her. And she basically said, you know, it doesn't really matter. She doesn't really care. You know how all girlfriends are. And the minute I buy them, the minute I get them in hand, she automatically falls in love with it. And I fall in love with the sneaker as well because they're actually a really pretty sneaker. I thought that the green on this would come out to be like a snot booger colorway. However, the green is actually very toned down and very cool. There's just so much character behind the quote-unquote matcha dunks. There's little details on this sneaker that you would not notice if you did not have the sneaker in hand. Now, around the outsoles, there's little specks going on in the green, which looks really nice. And this sneaker overall is just something that is neutral, is calm, but it's also a banger sneaker as well. Now, I don't know too much about Yuto Horigome. I know that he is a skater. When it comes to the Nike SB Dunks, whenever they have collabs with other skate shops or skaters, they always kind of hit hard with it. Now, this was a sneaker that honestly, if I had my size, I would very much consider keeping for the personals, but my girlfriend has a pair. That's all that matters. She rocks them pretty well. So here at number 4, I will add the Yuto Horigome Nike SB Dunks to our list. All right, so moving on to number 3 on our list. I honestly struggled on where I wanted to put the sneaker. So originally I was gonna put it number 2, but I decided that it stays at the number 3 spot. We do have the Caitlin Clark Nike Kobe Protro 6s in the light armory blue colorway. Just take a look at this shoe. This is absolutely beautiful. This is a clean sneaker. I know that Kobe 6s are pretty sought after. A lot of hoopers love to wear this shoe. And when this sneaker dropped, I went for them. I took an L. I was pretty sad because the blue on this sneaker just pops so much. For those of you guys that don't know, Caitlin Clark is one of the best players in the WNBA. And for the fact that she released this exclusive colorway in the Kobe 6 Protros, this is absolutely beautiful. Like every year, I feel like the Kobe 6s always release a banger colorway. And for the year 2025, this was probably the best colorway that we have seen. Honestly, I think this is the best colorway of all Kobe 6s. You guys can call me out on that, I know. I'm not a Kobe fan. Sorry, I don't want to get anyone mad. But aside from all the other signature iconic colorways, this one would be probably the one I'd rock for the rest of my life. I know this sneaker is definitely sought after, like it's sold out. It's going for double the price of what the retail market was. I love that contrast from that baby blue to that powder blue. All right, and moving on to number 2 on our list, the runner-up for the best sneaker release of 2025. We do have the Nike SB Air Max 95s in the cactus flower colorway. And by the way, for those sneakers that I do have in my collection at the moment, I will include a link to my sneaker review of each sneaker so you guys can check them out after this. But yeah, earlier this year, I received word that these were dropping and I saw the colorway of them and I loved the purple colorway on it. I feel like this is like a magenta color and this was very unique, unlike anything that I owned in my collection. And I did want a pair of Nike Air Max 95s. However, Air Max 95s are very uncomfortable. So when I heard that Nike SB was releasing their pair of Air Max 95s, I knew that this was going to be more comfortable than the average pair. So I decided to wait, and keep in mind this was around like February or March, and I was waiting for this particular sneaker to drop. I feel like not a lot of people went for them. And honestly, these are going for like under retail right now. But if you guys are looking for a more comfortable pair of Air Max 95s out there, this is definitely the shoe to go. I don't know why the SB Air Max 95s are not more popular than they are now. They are very, very comfortable and enjoyable to wear. They're made with better materials. They're made with more padding and cushioning. And overall, I feel like when I'm wearing them, I don't feel like they're stiff. I don't feel like they're bulky. And also for the fact in 2025, Nike is celebrating their 30th anniversary with the Air Max 95s. So this entire year, they have been releasing Air Max 95s like crazy. They've released so many different colorways and different collaborations. And I feel like the Nike SB Air Max 95s have just been the best one by far. It's a great shoe. It has a lot of character to it. I wasn't a fan of the Air Max 95s at first, but now they've definitely grown on me. I love the look of it. And finally, topping it off with number 1 on our list, the best sneaker release in my opinion of 2025, we do have the Jordan 1 Lows in the Chicago colorway. This was one that I got lucky on, that I was able to get a W on this pair, and I am so happy that I was able to snag these for retail. I love the Jordan 1 Chicago colorway. I feel like they are definitely the icon of sneakerheads in general. When you think of sneakers, you probably think of a Jordan 1. And when you think of a Jordan 1, you think of the Chicagos. Now the Jordan 1 Lows have been popping off lately, but what is great about this particular pair is that they brought back that jumbo swoosh. And for those of you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, basically check out my sneaker review on what makes this Jordan 1 Low different from the others. Basically, there is a wider swoosh to it. The sneakerheads love that a lot more, a different cut to the ankle area. And this just makes the sneaker so much better. And a lot of us did not realize that this sneaker first released in 2015. And this was the only time that we ever saw a low pair of the Jordan 1 Chicagos. Since then, we have not seen any retros or restocks, but they finally decided to bring them back in 2025, and I had to go for them. I already have a good amount of red Jordan 1s in my collection, but I just could not get over the fact that this was out there. I originally wasn't going to keep them for the personals. I was gonna sell them. I wanted to do a review on them, but after holding them in my hand, I just knew it was the right call to keep them, and I enjoy wearing them. I just love a red Jordan 1. I feel like a lot of people probably are not even going to include this on their list. I don't know why, but for me, I think that as a sneakerhead, as a sneaker collector, this is definitely something that's iconic to me. It's something where even the jumbo swoosh that a lot of people are not going to recognize, they're not going to notice, like it's there, and that's what makes the shoe so much cooler than a regular pair of Jordan 1 Lows. I love red. I love the Jordan 1 Chicagos, a great sneaker. The jumbo swoosh is back. Here at number 1, the best sneaker release of 2025. The Jordan 1 Low Chicagos. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps up my video for the top 10 best sneaker releases of 2025. Now I'll hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite releases from 2025? Let me know in the comments down below. It was a very fun video to make, and I'm glad that I talked about the sneakers that I have now that I was able to snag a W on. And just honestly thinking about those wins that I got make me feel really great, because there was not a single sneaker that released this year where I had to pay resale price. I actually don't know if I've paid resale prices for sneakers in a while. which is kind of interesting. But as always, if you guys like the video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you guys want to hear more from me, smash the subscribe button because more will be on the way. Again, these are the top 10 best sneaker releases of 2025. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!